going out for my first drive with the recently installed Perrin sway bar and the Endlinks. So I thought I would kind of give my initial impression of what I thought. I finished the install pretty late last night, about 2 a.m. to be exact, after I cleaned up and everything, and that's no fun. I think I started about maybe like 9:30, I forget. But obviously I was taking my time and everything. I wasn't rushing, and I was trying to make sure that I did the install well, and because the worst thing is when you do an install and you kind of rush through it, you kind of forget things, and then you can get noises and pops and all that. So I wanted to make sure I was doing the install correctly and I didn't have any issues. So and I did obviously have a few speed bumps where there was one of the strip bolts, and also kind of manipulating the sway bar to get into place. I ended up having to remove or unbolt the muffler to the mid pipe. But it's all done. I'm sore as hell, which is crazy because I used to do this all the time, and now I'm starting to feel like my age. So, but that's a good thing though. I don't mind being sore. But anyway, let's get to my thoughts of what I think of the sway bar and everything. The great thing, I had some questions that people were asking me, like, what does it do, and is it really that big of a help? So I guess giving my initial impression here, what might help some of you guys out. But basically what a sway bar does, it connects the two parts of the car, the two components. So from one side to the other in terms of suspension, it kind of pulls it together. So having a thicker bar in between helps eliminate any of the sway or wobble that you feel when you're kind of driving hard and you're going on turns and everything. You kind of feel the car sway and kind of float in a way. By putting a thicker sway bar there and better end links, it kind of eliminates that completely. So it makes the car feel a lot more planted and flat on the turns, and it just feels a lot more confidence inspiring. You don't feel as out of control. You feel a lot more just in control and more connected with the car. And the great thing about it is it doesn't increase any NVH, which is great. You don't want to increase the stiffness of the car and it be really firm and just annoying. With sway bars, you only notice when you're on the turns. When you're driving normally, you won't even notice that there's anything installed, basically. So like I said, I installed, I'll go over what I installed in case you didn't see the past video. I installed Perrin urethane Endlinks, as well as a Perrin 25 millimeter sway bar, rear sway bar. I haven't done the front yet, and I had no intentions of doing the front because the front is already 26 millimeter, which is pretty big. The only thing that I would maybe suggest upgrading in the front is the bushings as well as the Endlinks. So I might do that down the road if I get the motivation to do it. But honestly, after doing this, I think I'm pretty set. What are my thoughts? It is a big difference. Going stock sway bar is 20 millimeters, so going up to 25 is a pretty big jump. So it's definitely something that you will notice right away, especially I feel like if you have a WRX and you upgrade the sway bars, that's a big difference, because I believe the rear sway bar in the WRX is a lot thinner. So this chassis, the V8 chassis, the STI, is already pretty firm. There's not a lot of play, a lot of float and everything from the factory. I do have Fortune Auto coilovers on the car too, so that really does help. But I think really upgrading the rear sway bar kind of completes the overall chassis, just the feel of it. I feel like this is the way it should have felt from the factory. Just going on the road, just going on a hard turn, you just feel how much flatter the car feels. And to me, that's such a good feeling. I actually took a drive this morning. I went to work. I had to go pick up my daughter from school. I kind of was playing around with the car, and I noticed I almost feel, I don't feel like the back end slips out, but I feel like it's more rear wheel drive biased, which is great because that's kind of what I was going for. I prefer that in my cars. I like having a rear wheel drive biased car, so doing that big of a sway bar back there really helps. And it kind of lets you play a little bit. It feels a little bit more nimble, and it does a great job. And I got to say, the fitment of everything, once you got everything into place, was spot on. I ended up doing the firmest setting with the Endlinks, and they give you in the instructions with the Endlinks, they give you different scenario or different spacing using the little spacers they provide. For each setting, they gave you different settings or different spacers to use in different setups. So I followed the instructions, and everything just lined up perfectly, which was great because usually, when you're dealing with suspension components, you're dealing with load, and sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of manipulate things to get into place. And these, I hardly even had to, move anything to really get everything to line up. So that was awesome. Another thing is, I don't hear a single noise back there, which is a huge thumbs up for me. A big problem when doing, upgrading your Endlinks and sway bars and everything, you can introduce a lot of unwanted noise, pops, cracking, creaking, metal noise, and that's just something I did not want at all. And like I said in a couple videos, I've had that in the past, and I don't want to deal with it in this car. I just wanted something simple, almost OEM-like, but just more firm. And that's exactly what I got. There was zero noise, nothing. I tried different scenarios going over smaller speed bumps coming out of my driveway, just kind of angling the car to see if I could get it to pop or make any noise, and I got nothing. And to be completely honest, if I'm just driving down the road, I don't even notice that I did anything back there, which is good. You'll really notice it when you're on the turns. There's actually some twisty roads coming up that I'll do a little bit of speeder driving, just to kind of, you won't be able to see it obviously, but and I'll kind of talk you through it. It is wet today. It's kind of a gross day. It is raining, so I can't go too crazy. But yeah, it's just, it kind of, to me, completes the car. A rear sway bar was always something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I'm really glad that I finally did it. So again, huge thanks to Perrin for providing the parts and getting them to me. The rear sway bar was on back order. That's why I didn't review it in my initial Perrin unboxing video, but it just came in this past Friday, and I got it on Monday. I was trying to get it on during the weekend, but I didn't get a chance, so I just kind of designated, I got some time on Monday night to get it installed. So yeah, definitely huge thanks to Perrin. I'm really happy with everything and just the quality and how everything fits. It's always such a pleasure putting aftermarket parts on that fit just the way they're supposed to. OEM parts obviously rule that in that category, but there's always that risk of having things not fit as you want them to. But everything that I put on this car, Perrin related, I haven't had any issues with. Everything just bolted right up, and it was perfect, which I'm really happy about. And also to mention, I do have the Perrin strut bar up front in the engine bay, which definitely helps kind of eliminate any other sway that the front did have too. So in combination with the rear sway and the Endlinks and the Perrin strut bar, this car is set up pretty sweet. I am thinking about doing some rear lower control arms to kind of dial the suspension in a little bit more. I am running a -3 in the back on both sides, so I would like to kind of make that go a little bit less, maybe around -2. I got to see with the wheel fitment and everything like that, but that's definitely something I want to do suspension-wise that I plan on doing in the future. But here, this road's a little windy up here, so I gotta be careful. It is a little wet. It's just so flat. It's awesome. Oh man, I definitely. Oh geez, if you're on the fence about doing it, do it, no question. I definitely think it's a must to do if you have an STI or WRX. That is a pretty big difference. It's pretty sweet. So if you're on the fence, or even if you weren't thinking about it and this video kind of made you want one, definitely suggest it. Go get one. You know, go pick up a Perrin sway bar. I believe they have 22, 24. Oh no, I don't know if they have a 24. I believe they have a 20, 22, and a 25 millimeter option. If you're like me and you just want something that's, I guess, the biggest they get, go with the 25. I did get the urethane bushings, as like I said earlier. They also have the spherical ones, which a little bit have a couple more moving parts, a little bit more robust, and they have adjustability too. So you have some options there. But super happy with this setup. I think anybody that is that's wanting to do a rear sway bar and they want this exact setup, I don't think you'll be upset about it. I think you'll be pretty happy. I'm gonna take this turn kind of hard. Traction control kicked in. But the car stayed so flat, it was crazy. You know, it didn't feel out of control. I didn't feel any float or anything. It felt super flat. This would be pretty sweet taking on the track, which is probably where you'll notice it the most, but hey, I daily drive this car, so. All right, guys, well, that's my initial impression of the Perrin sway bar and the Perrin Endlinks. And like I said, if you're on the fence, I definitely suggest going out and picking one up. It's not really that of an expensive mod. You know, it's, you know, maybe $300-400 or so. But you know, I mean, I wouldn't say that's cheap, but I definitely suggest it if it's something that you're looking to do. So pick one up. It'll completely change the way your car rides. I actually think I'm gonna soften the coilovers a little bit, because I don't really need to have them as stiff now, because the sway bar is really taking all that up, and it'll be a little bit even more of a comfortable ride. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them below. I'll link some Amazon links below for the sway bar and the Endlinks. So if you guys do choose to pick one up, I would appreciate it if you use the links below, because I get some kickback on those links if you use them. It's just from Amazon, but if not, no big deal. It's not a big deal. But yeah, next up, I'm not really sure what video. I do plan on washing the car this weekend, so maybe I'll do kind of like a wash and talk or something like that. Just kind of go over maybe what other plans I have for the car, or what I plan to do in the future or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have any questions, just ask them below, and hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you know, it would really help me out if you hit that subscribe button too. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Catch you later.